Lieutenant Hannah Kim opened her eyes in the medical bay of the Orbital Station 7. White lights blazed above her head. Her body felt different. Strange. 3 weeks had passed since the battle at Meridian Station. 3 weeks since the alien neural weapon had hit her mind like lightning. The doctors said she was lucky to be alive. Most humans who got hit by alien neural disruptors died within hours. Their brains simply stopped working. But Hannah was different now. She could feel it in every thought that crossed her mind. Dr. Lee walked into the room carrying a data tablet. He was an older man with kind eyes and steady hands. He had been watching over Hannah since she arrived at the medical station. "How do you feel today, Lieutenant?" he asked while checking her vital signs on the monitors around her bed. "Different," Hannah replied. She sat up slowly and looked at her hands. They looked the same, but everything felt changed. "I can see things now. Patterns. Movements that haven't happened yet." Dr. Lee frowned and made notes on his tablet. "The neural scans show unusual activity in your brain. The alien weapon seems to have changed how your mind processes information. We don't fully understand what happened to you." Hannah stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the vast emptiness of space filled with stars. But now, when she looked at the patrol ships moving around the station, she could predict exactly where they would go next. She could see their flight patterns before the pilots even decided on them. "I need to get back to my unit," she said, turning away from the window. "The doctors want to run more tests," Dr. Lee replied. "You've been through something no human has ever experienced before." Before Hannah could answer, the door to the medical bay opened. Captain Park walked in wearing his standard military uniform. He was a tall man with sharp eyes and a serious expression. He had been Hannah's commanding officer for 2 years. "Lieutenant Kim," he said with a nod. "Good to see you're awake. We need to talk." Dr. Lee looked uncomfortable. "Captain, she needs more recovery time. The neural changes are still happening." "I'm afraid we don't have time for that, Doctor," Captain Park replied. He turned to Hannah. "The aliens have built something on Koros 7. Intelligence says it's a weapon that could end this war. We need someone who can get inside their defenses." Hannah felt a strange pull in her mind. Images flashed before her eyes. Alien corridors, guard positions, patrol routes. She had never been to Koros 7, but somehow she could see it clearly. "I can do it," she said without hesitation. Captain Park studied her face carefully. "The mission is dangerous. The facility is heavily defended. Normal human tactics won't work against their security systems." "I'm not normal anymore," Hannah replied. She could feel the truth of those words in her bones. The alien weapon had tried to destroy her mind, but instead it had made her something new. Something that could think like them while staying human. Dr. Lee shook his head. "This is madness. We don't know what the long-term effects will be." "The long-term effects don't matter if we lose this war," Captain Park said firmly. He looked at Hannah again. "Your team is waiting for you in briefing room 3. Sergeant Min Lee has the explosives ready. Private Jai-1 has communications set up. Corporal So-Rae Yun is handling medical supplies." Hannah nodded. These were her people. They had fought beside her through dozens of battles. She trusted them with her life, and they trusted her with theirs. "What about the mission details?" he asked. "The aliens call their new project the Hive Mind Network," Captain Park explained. "If they complete it, their entire fleet will be able to coordinate instantly. No human force would be able to stand against them." Hannah closed her eyes and let her enhanced mind process this information. She could see tactical possibilities spreading out like branches on a tree. Most of them led to failure and death. But there was one path that led to success. One way to reach the facility and destroy it before the aliens could complete their weapon. "How long do we have?" she asked. 72 hours, Captain Park replied. "After that, the Hive Mind Network goes online, and the war is over." Hannah opened her eyes and looked at both men. "Then we better get started." As she walked toward the door, she felt the alien thoughts stirring in the back of her mind. Not thoughts exactly, but ways of thinking. Patterns of strategy that no human should understand. The neural weapon had tried to break her, but instead it had given her the ability to think like the enemy. She was no longer just Lieutenant Hannah Kim. She was becoming something else, something that the aliens would learn to fear. The war was about to change forever. The stealth pods drifted through space like dark shadows against the stars. Hannah Kim sat in the lead pod watching the alien facility on Koros 7 grow larger through the reinforced viewing window. The moon's surface was covered in strange metallic structures that pulsed with blue energy. "Ghost Leader, this is Wolfpack," came the voice of Sergeant Min Lee through the communication system. "I'm reading massive energy signatures from the facility. Whatever they're building in there is almost complete." Hannah pressed her hand against the control panel and felt her enhanced mind reach out toward the alien base. Images flashed through her thoughts. Guard positions, patrol routes, security systems. She could see it all as clearly as if she had the building plans in front of her. "I see 12 guard towers," she said into her microphone. "Plasma cannons on each one. But there's a blind spot on the eastern approach. The asteroid storm is masking our heat signatures." Private J1's voice crackled through the speakers. "How can you see all that, Lieutenant? We're still 5 kilometers away." Hannah didn't answer. She couldn't explain how she knew these things. Ever since the alien neural weapon had changed her mind, she could perceive enemy movements and defensive patterns in ways that shouldn't be possible. "Prepare for landing," she ordered. "Stay close to me and follow my exact path. One wrong step, and the sensor grid will detect us." The 4 stealth pods touched down on the rocky surface of Koros 7 behind a cluster of crystal formations. The team emerged wearing full environmental suits and advanced camouflage gear. Corporal So Rae-yun checked her medical scanner, while Min Lee activated his demolition equipment. "The facility entrance is 200 meters ahead," Hannah said, pointing toward a massive doorway carved into the side of a metal pyramid. "But we're not going through the front door." She led them along a winding path between the alien structures. Every few steps, she would stop and hold up her hand for silence. Her enhanced senses could detect guard patrols before they came into view. "There," she whispered, pointing to a ventilation shaft near the base of the pyramid. "That leads directly to the main laboratory level." Min Lee looked at the shaft opening. "That's barely wide enough for one person, and it's probably defended." "It's not defended," Hannah replied with certainty. "The aliens don't expect anyone to find that entrance. They think like a collective mind. Individual creativity is foreign to them." As they crawled through the ventilation system, Hannah could feel the alien presence all around her. Not just their physical bodies, but their thoughts and tactical patterns. The neural weapon had given her access to their way of thinking, while keeping her human creativity intact. They emerged into a corridor filled with strange blue light. The walls were covered in organic-looking technology that seemed to pulse with life. Alien guards moved in predictable patterns through the hallways carrying energy weapons. "I count 20 hostiles on this level," whispered J1. 24, Hannah corrected. 4 more are coming up the lift shaft in 30 seconds. She was right. Moments later, 4 additional alien soldiers emerged from a lift platform at the end of the corridor. But Hannah had already led her team into a side passage that kept them hidden. "How did you know they were coming?" asked So Rae-yun. "I can feel their movement patterns," Hannah explained. "They think in formations. Once you understand their tactical language, you can predict what they'll do next." They moved deeper into the facility like ghosts haunting alien corridors. Every guard patrol that should have spotted them missed them by seconds. Every security sensor that should have detected them was avoided by the narrowest of margins. In the main laboratory, they found the true horror of the hive mind project. Dozens of captured humans were connected to alien neural interfaces. Their minds were being studied and copied to help the aliens understand human tactical thinking. "My God," whispered Min Lee, looking at the prisoners. "They're trying to learn how we think." Hannah felt rage building in her enhanced mind. The aliens weren't just building a weapon. They were torturing her people to make it work. She moved to the central computer console and placed her hands on the alien interface. Information flooded her consciousness: fleet positions, strategic plans, Tactical doctrines. The aliens had been preparing for a final assault on human space. The hive mind network would coordinate their entire military force into one unstoppable weapon. "I'm downloading everything," she said to her team. "Men, get those explosives ready. We're going to destroy this place and save those prisoners." But as she worked at the alien console, alarms began to sound throughout the facility. Red lights flashed and alien voices echoed through the corridors. "We've been detected," said J1, checking his scanner. "Massive force converging on our position." Hannah looked up from the console with alien tactical knowledge burning in her mind. For the first time, she truly understood how the enemy thought, and she was going to use that knowledge to destroy them. "Let them come," she said with a cold smile. "It's time they learned what happens when they try to break a human mind." The alien commander, Kethrak, stood in the central command chamber of the Koros 7 facility. His 4 arms moved across multiple control panels while his compound eyes studied the security displays. Something impossible was happening in his most secure laboratory. "Report," he commanded in the clicking language of his species. "4 humans have penetrated Laboratory 7, replied his tactical officer Veltar. "They have accessed the hive mind network data and are attempting to free the test subjects." Kethrak's mandibles clicked together in frustration. The facility's defenses were designed to stop entire armies. No small team should have been able to reach the core laboratories undetected. "How did they bypass our sensor grids?" he demanded. "Unknown, Commander. They moved through our security zones as if they knew exactly where our blind spots were located." In Laboratory 7, Hannah Kim finished downloading the alien tactical database while her team prepared the rescued prisoners for evacuation. The humans who had been connected to the neural interfaces were weak but alive. "Can you walk?" Corporal So Rei-yun asked one of the freed prisoners. "I think so," the man replied weakly. "But you need to get out of here. They know you're coming." The alien commander has been studying human tactics for months. Hannah looked up from the computer console. "What do you mean, studying human tactics?" "They've been analyzing battle footage from dozens of engagements," the prisoner explained. "The one called Kethrak is obsessed with understanding how humans think in combat situations." Through the facility's communication system, Kethrak's voice echoed in perfect human language. "Human intruders, you have impressed me with your infiltration skills, but you are trapped now. My soldiers surround your position." Hannah felt her enhanced mind reaching out through the facility's network systems. She could sense the alien forces moving through the corridors like pieces on a chessboard. Kethrak had positioned his troops in a classic pincer movement designed to crush them from multiple directions. "He's right," said Sergeant Min Lee, checking his scanner. "We've got hostiles coming from 3 different directions. At least 40 soldiers." 47, Hannah corrected automatically. Her alien-enhanced perception could count the exact number of enemies approaching their position. Private Jai-1 established a communication link with their extraction team. "Ghost Leader, this is Base Command. Extraction ships are standing by, but they can't reach you while you're inside the facility." Hannah closed her eyes and let her transformed mind process the tactical situation. The alien commander had studied human combat patterns, but he didn't understand the one thing that made humans truly dangerous: their ability to do the impossible when everything seemed hopeless. "Min, how much explosive do you have left?" she asked. "Enough to blow a hole in the outer wall," he replied. "But that would expose us to vacuum. We don't have enough environmental suits for the prisoners." "We won't need them," Hannah said with a strange smile. She had seen something in the alien tactical database that Kethrak didn't know she had found. "There's an emergency atmospheric containment system built into this section of the facility." She moved to a wall panel and began entering commands using the alien interface language she had learned from the neural download. The facility's systems responded to her touch as if she were one of their own kind. "Impossible," came Kethrak's voice over the speakers. "No human should be able to access our control systems." "I'm not just human anymore," Hannah replied, speaking directly into the facility's communication network. "Your neural weapon tried to break my mind. Instead, it taught me how to think like you." The first wave of alien soldiers burst through the laboratory doors firing plasma weapons, but Hannah was no longer standing where they expected her to be. Her enhanced tactical awareness allowed her to predict their entry points and positioning. She moved through the laboratory like a phantom, every step perfectly timed to avoid enemy fire, every movement calculated to place her in the optimal position for counterattack. The alien soldiers found themselves shooting at empty air, while she struck from impossible angles. Min Lee's explosives detonated, creating a massive hole in the outer wall. But instead of explosive decompression, the emergency atmospheric system activated, creating a breathable environment that extended beyond the facility's hull. "Move now," Hannah ordered, leading the freed prisoners toward the breach in the wall. Ketharak watched the impossible escape through his security monitors. The human female moved through his soldiers like a ghost haunting his nightmares. She anticipated every tactical decision before his troops could execute them. "Who is she?" he asked Veltar. "According to our intelligence files, her name is Lieutenant Hannah Kim. But Commander, something about her has changed. She fights like she can read our minds." As the human team escaped through the breach in the facility wall, Ketharak felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Not fear of death, but fear of an enemy he could not understand or predict. The humans called her Ghost now, and Ketharak was beginning to understand why. In space, the extraction ships recovered Hannah's team and the freed prisoners. But deep in the alien facility, Ketharak stared at the tactical recordings of their escape. The human female had done something impossible. She had learned to think like an alien while staying completely human. The war had just become much more dangerous. Commander Ketharak stood before the holographic display in his private chambers, studying footage of the human escape from Koros 7. He had watched the recordings 57 times. Each viewing revealed new impossibilities in the female human's tactical behavior. "She moves like she can see the future," he said to his reflection in the polished metal wall. Veltar entered the chamber carrying a data crystal. "Commander, I have completed the analysis you requested. The human female, designated as Ghost, has participated in 12 major engagements over the past 18 months. In every case, she demonstrated tactical awareness beyond normal human capability." Ketharak inserted the crystal into his personal computer. Battle footage filled the air around him, showing Ghost in action across multiple theaters of war. In each engagement, she moved with precision that defied explanation. "Look at this sequence from the Meridian Station battle." Veltar pointed to a specific section of footage. "She begins moving to avoid plasma fire before our soldiers pull the triggers. It's as if she knows what they will do before they decide to do it." "That's impossible," Ketharak replied, but his voice carried uncertainty. "No organic mind can process tactical information that quickly." "Unless the mind has been changed somehow," Veltar suggested. "Our neural weapons are designed to disrupt human brain function. But what if instead of destroying her mind, the weapon enhanced it?" Ketharak's compound eyes focused on the tactical officer. This was a possibility he had not considered. Their neural disruptors worked by flooding human brains with alien thought patterns. Most humans died from the overload. But what if one human had somehow absorbed those patterns without losing her original consciousness? "Prepare a new facility on Asteroid Base 12, he ordered. "I want it configured specifically to contain and study this Ghost. We will learn her secrets and use them against her own species." On the human battleship Resolute, Hannah Kim sat in the tactical briefing room studying star charts with Captain Topark. The data they had recovered from Koros 7 revealed alien fleet positions throughout 3 star systems. "Intelligence estimates they have 47 major warships in this sector alone," Captain Park said, pointing to a cluster of red markers on the display. With the hive mind network, they could coordinate all of them into a single tactical unit. Hannah felt her enhanced mind processing the fleet positions. She could see movement patterns and strategic intentions that weren't visible to normal human analysis. The alien ships weren't just randomly positioned. They were forming a massive trap. "They're not planning to attack our colonies," she said suddenly. "This whole fleet deployment is designed to capture me." Captain Park looked at her with concern. What makes you think that? The positioning is all wrong for a standard assault formation, Hannah explained. But it's perfect for surrounding and containing a single high-value target. Kethrak isn't trying to win battles anymore. He's trying to capture the human who can think like his people. Before Captain Park could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the ship. Private J1's voice came over the communication system. All hands to battle stations. Enemy fleet detected on multiple vectors. They're surrounding us. In the Combat Information Center, Hannah watched as alien ships appeared on the tactical display. They emerged from hyperspace in perfect coordination, forming a sphere around the human battle group. It was exactly the trap formation she had predicted. 49 ships, reported the sensor operator. They have us completely surrounded. 48, Hannah corrected automatically. Her enhanced perception could distinguish between active warships and decoy projections. One of those signatures is a fake design to make us think they have more ships than they actually do. Admiral Chen's voice came over the fleet communication channel. All ships prepare for combat. We're outnumbered 3-1, but we'll make them pay for every kilometer. Hannah closed her eyes and let her alien-enhanced tactical awareness expand through the battle space. She could feel the enemy formation like a living thing. Every ship position, every weapon system, every tactical option available to both fleets. "Admiral, this is Lieutenant Kim," she said into her microphone. "I'm uploading new tactical coordinates to all ships. Trust me and follow my lead exactly." "Lieutenant, you're not qualified to command fleet operations," Admiral Chen replied. "Sir, she predicted this trap formation perfectly," Captain Park interrupted. "I recommend we follow her guidance." Hannah's mind raced through thousands of tactical possibilities. The alien fleet was positioned to prevent escape, but their formation had a weakness. Kethrak had studied human tactical patterns, but he still fought like an alien. He expected humans to fight their way out using brute force. "All ships execute maneuver pattern Delta 7, she ordered. "Target the command ship at coordinates Mark 47. "That ship is in the center of their formation," Admiral Chen protested. "We'll never reach it." "We don't need to reach it," Hannah replied. "We just need to make Kethrak think we're trying to reach it." The human fleet began moving in a complex pattern that appeared to be a desperate assault on the alien command vessel. But Hannah's real plan was much more subtle. She was using human unpredictability against alien tactical logic. As the alien ships moved to counter the apparent human assault, they created exactly the opening Hannah had predicted. A gap in their formation that would allow 3 human ships to escape and carry warning to the colonies. "Now, Admiral," she said quietly, "execute escape vector Alpha 9. Kethrak watched from his command ship as 3 human vessels slipped through his carefully planned trap. The female called Ghost had somehow anticipated his strategy and turned it against him. "How did she know?" he demanded of Veltar. "She thinks like us, Commander," the tactical officer replied. "But she still acts like a human. It's a combination we cannot predict or counter." As the human ships jumped to hyperspace, Kethrak realized the truth. He was no longer hunting Ghost. She was hunting him. The alien soldiers in Sector 9 of the Koros 7 facility moved through the corridors with weapons raised and eyes constantly scanning the shadows. Word had spread through their ranks like a virus. The human called Ghost was somewhere in their base, and she could appear anywhere at any time. "Squad leader, this is Forward Scout," came a nervous voice over the communication channel. "I see movement in Corridor 7, but my sensors show nothing there." "All units maintain formation," the squad leader replied, but uncertainty crept into his voice. 3 of his soldiers had already vanished without a trace. Their weapons were found lying on the ground, but their bodies had simply disappeared. Hannah Kim pressed herself against the ceiling of the ventilation shaft, listening to the alien communications through her enhanced hearing. Their language no longer sounded foreign to her mind. The neural weapon had given her more than just tactical awareness. She could understand their words, and more importantly, their fear. She dropped silently into the corridor behind the last alien soldier in the patrol. Her movement was so smooth and quiet that the creature never knew she was there. One precise strike to the nerve cluster at the base of his neck, and he collapsed unconscious. "Squad leader, we have lost contact with rear guard," came another panicked voice. "That's impossible," the squad leader replied. "He was right behind us 30 seconds ago." Hannah smiled grimly as she dragged the unconscious alien into a side chamber. She wasn't killing them. That would have been too simple. Instead, she was making them disappear one by one. The psychological effect on the remaining soldiers was devastating. In the central command chamber, Kethrak watched his security displays with growing frustration. His sensors showed his soldiers moving through the facility, but somehow the human female remained invisible to all detection systems. "How many have we lost?" he demanded. 17 soldiers have gone missing in the last 2 hours, Veltar reported. "No bodies found. No signs of combat. They simply vanish." "She's playing with us," Kethrak realized. The human could have killed them all by now, but instead she's making them afraid. She understands psychological warfare better than we do. Through the facility's communication system, Hannah's voice echoed in perfect alien language. "Commander Kethrak, I know you can hear me. Your soldiers are safe for now, but you've made a mistake." "What mistake, human?" Kethrak replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "You studied human tactics, but you never understood human creativity," Hannah said. Her voice seemed to come from everywhere at once. "You think in formations and patterns. We think in possibilities and impossibilities." Another squad of alien soldiers rounded a corner and found their patrol route blocked by their own unconscious comrades arranged in a perfect tactical formation. The message was clear. Ghost could have killed them, but chose to demonstrate her superiority instead. "This is Unit 7, came a terrified voice. "She's been here. Our people are alive but unconscious. How did she move 12 soldiers without making any noise?" Hannah moved through the facility like her codename suggested. A ghost haunting every corridor and chamber. Her enhanced mind could predict patrol routes hours in advance. She knew where every soldier would be before they knew it themselves. She reached the main computer core and began downloading the complete alien tactical database. Not just battle plans, but their entire military doctrine. Strategic thinking patterns that had been developed over thousands of years of warfare. "She's in the computer core," Veltar announced. "Massive data transfer in progress." "Send all remaining units," Kethrak ordered. "Surround the core chamber. Use maximum force." 43 alien soldiers converged on a computer core from 6 different directions. Their weapons were set to maximum power, and their orders were to capture the human female at any cost. They found the chamber empty except for a holographic message floating above the central console. Hannah's image looked directly at Kethrak through the security cameras. "By the time you see this message, I will already be gone," she said. "But I wanted you to understand something important. You didn't just fail to capture me. You taught me everything I needed to know about your people." The hologram gestured to the computer displays around the chamber. "I now have your complete tactical database. Every battle plan, every strategic doctrine, every weakness in your military thinking." Kethrak stared at the screens in horror. Classified information that should have been impossible for any human to access was being transmitted to unknown coordinates. "You wanted to study me, Commander," the hologram continued. "Instead, I studied you. Your soldiers are afraid now because they finally understand what they're fighting against. Not just a human who can think like you, but a human who can think better than you." The message ended and alarms began sounding throughout the facility. Every security system had been compromised. Emergency protocols activated automatically as the entire base began shutting down. "She's triggered a complete system failure," Veltar reported. "All defensive systems are offline. Communications are down. Life support is switching to emergency backup." In the chaos of the facility shutdown, nobody noticed the small maintenance craft that launched from the asteroid's surface. By the time the aliens restored their sensors, the ship was already jumping to hyperspace. Kethrak stood alone in his darkened command chamber, staring at the empty tactical displays. For the first time in his military career, he felt something that his species had thought impossible. He was afraid of a single enemy soldier. The human called Ghost had done more than escape his trap. She had turned his own facility into a weapon against him. His soldiers would never look at shadows the same way again. And somewhere in human space, she was analyzing everything she had learned about his people. The hunter had truly become the hunted. The war had entered a new phase, and Kethrak was no longer sure his Psi could win it. General Ba stood in the command center of Terra Station, watching holographic displays that showed the tactical data recovered from the alien facility. The information was beyond anything human intelligence had ever obtained. Complete enemy fleet positions, strategic plans, military doctrines dating back centuries. How did she get all of this? He asked Commander Rena Choi, who was reviewing the mission reports. According to Lieutenant Kim's debriefing, she was able to interface directly with their computer systems, Commander Choi replied. The neural enhancement allows her to understand their technology, as if she designed it herself. General Bai studied the footage of Ghost's escape from Koros 7. The recording showed her moving through alien corridors like smoke given form, every step perfectly timed, every action calculated for maximum effectiveness. She's not human anymore, he said quietly. At least not entirely human. The medical scans show her brain activity is unlike anything we've ever recorded, Commander Choi agreed. Her tactical processing capability exceeds our most advanced computer systems, but her personality and emotions remain completely human. In the medical bay, Dr. Lee finished his examination of Lieutenant Hannah Kim. Her vital signs were normal, but the neural scans revealed patterns that shouldn't exist in any organic mind. How do you feel after the mission? He asked. Different, Hannah replied. I can see tactical possibilities that extend across multiple star systems. When I look at fleet deployment charts, I understand enemy intentions before they execute them. The alien tactical database you downloaded seems to have integrated with your enhanced neural patterns, Dr. Lee explained. You now possess strategic knowledge that took their civilization thousands of years to develop. Captain Topark entered the medical bay carrying a communication tablet. Hannah, you need to see this. Intelligence reports are coming in from across the front lines. The tablet displayed dozens of military reports from various sectors. All of them described the same phenomenon. Alien forces were withdrawing from planned operations. Attack formations were breaking apart for no apparent reason. Enemy commanders were requesting additional security protocols. They're afraid, Hannah realized reading through the reports. Word of what happened at Koros 7 has spread through their command structure. It's more than that, Captain Park said. Look at these communication intercepts. The tablet switched to translated alien communications, military dispatches referring to something called the Shadow Walker, strategic advisories warning of a human operative who could predict alien tactics perfectly, emergency protocols for any engagement where the Phantom might be present. They have a name for you now, Captain Park said. But it's not Shadow Walker in their language. The direct translation is something closer to Ghost. Sergeant Min Lee arrived at the medical bay with Private Jia Won and Corporal So Rei Yun. They had been reviewing footage from their helmet cameras during the Koros 7 mission. Lieutenant, you should see this, Min Lee said, activating a holographic projector. We recorded everything that happened during the facility infiltration. The hologram showed Ghost moving through alien corridors with fluid precision that seemed to defy physics. She dodged plasma bolts that hadn't been fired yet. She positioned herself in locations that provided perfect tactical advantage. Most importantly, she moved like someone who could see the future. How many times did you save our lives without us even knowing it? Jae-won asked. Hannah studied the footage with her enhanced perception. She could see tactical details that even she hadn't noticed during the mission. 47 times, she said automatically. You were in lethal danger 47 times, and I redirected enemy attention away from your positions. Incredible, So Rei Yun whispered. You were fighting a completely different battle than the rest of us. General Bai arrived in the medical bay with a formal document. Lieutenant Kim, by order of High Command, your operational designation is being changed. From this moment forward, you will be known by the codename Ghost. Hannah looked at the document that made her transformation official. She was no longer just Lieutenant Hannah Kim. She had become something that alien commanders feared to speak about directly. The psychological impact of your operations extends far beyond the tactical victories, General Ba explained. Enemy morale has dropped measurably in every sector where you might be deployed. They're changing their entire strategic approach because of one human soldier. What are my new orders? General Ghost asked. You'll be leading a new type of operation, he replied. Psychological warfare on a strategic scale. We want you to become the nightmare that keeps alien commanders awake during their rest cycles. Captain Park smiled grimly. They wanted to study human unpredictability. Instead, they created something they can't understand or counter. Dr. Lee reviewed the final medical scans. Her neural patterns have stabilized at this enhanced level. Whatever the alien weapon did to her mind appears to be permanent. Good, General Ba said. Because we're going to need Ghost for what comes next. Intelligence suggests the aliens are planning something called the Final Protocol. A last desperate attempt to end this war quickly. Ghost closed her eyes and felt her enhanced mind reaching out across space toward enemy positions. She could sense their fear like a living thing. Tactical formations were being adjusted specifically to account for her presence. Strategic plans were being rewritten because of what she might do. Let them plan, General, she said, opening her eyes. I'll be ready for whatever they try next. The codename was official now. Lieutenant Hannah Kim had become Ghost, the human who could think like aliens while fighting like a demon. The soldier who had turned enemy tactical superiority into her greatest weapon. Across alien space military commanders spoke her name in whispers. The phantom who haunted their strategic planning. The ghost who made their most secure facilities into hunting grounds. The war had changed forever, and Ghost was just getting started. The alien High Council gathered in the Great Chamber on their homeworld for an emergency session. Representatives from 12 different species sat around the circular table discussing reports that had arrived from the front lines. All of them spoke of the same impossible enemy. The human-designated Ghost has conducted 17 successful operations in the past month, announced Council Leader Zarthok. Each mission resulted in complete tactical failure for our forces. How can one human soldier affect operations across multiple star systems? Demanded General Vector from the warrior caste. Our strategic computers show this level of tactical coordination should be impossible. She's not just one soldier anymore, replied Intelligence Chief Morton. She has become a symbol that affects the morale of our entire military structure. Soldiers request transfers when they learn she might be deployed in their sector. On the human battleship Vengeance Ghost stood in the Tactical Planning Center coordinating 3 separate operations simultaneously. Captain Topark watched in amazement as she directed fleet movements across vast distances with perfect precision. Strike Force Alpha moved to coordinate 774, she said into her headset. The enemy will attempt to flank your position in 12 minutes. Be ready. Ghost Leader, how can you know their timing so precisely? Came the reply from the fleet commander. Because I can see their tactical pattern, she explained. They always commit reserve forces when their primary formation reaches 60% engagement. It's written into their military doctrine. Private J1 monitored communication channels from all 3 battle zones. All units are reporting enemy retreat. The aliens are withdrawing even though they have superior numbers. They know I'm coordinating the operation, Ghost said simply. That knowledge alone changes their tactical calculations. They're more afraid of making a mistake than they are of losing the battle. Sergeant Min Lee studied the battle displays showing alien fleet positions. Look at this formation pattern. They're keeping their ships twice as far apart as normal tactical doctrine requires. They're trying to prevent me from predicting their group movements, Ghost explained. But spreading out like that makes them vulnerable to concentrated human attacks. Their fear is making them weak. In the alien command ship Dark Nebula Commander Kethrak received reports from the 3 battle zones. Every engagement was ending in tactical withdrawal, despite numerical superiority. His officers were making decisions based on what Ghost might do, rather than what human forces were actually doing. "This is madness," he said to Veltar. "We're fighting a phantom more than we're fighting the actual enemy." "The phantom is real, Commander," Veltar replied. "Intelligence confirms she has been present at all 17 operations. Her tactical coordination capabilities extend across impossible distances." "Show me the analysis of her movement patterns," Kethrak demanded. Veltar activated a holographic display showing Ghost's operations over the past month. Red lines traced her movements between star systems. The pattern revealed something that chilled Kethrak to his core. "She's not just responding to our attacks," he realized. "She's predicting them and positioning human forces days in advance. Look at these timestamps. She was already moving to counter our Rigel offensive before we have finished planning it." On Terra Station, General Bai reviewed the monthly operational reports with amazement. Human forces were achieving victory ratios that had been impossible before Ghost's enhancement. More importantly, alien morale was collapsing across multiple sectors. "The psychological impact exceeds our most optimistic projections," reported Commander Rina Choi. "Enemy forces are requesting backup for routine patrol missions. Some units are refusing to operate in sectors where Ghost might be present." "What about our own people?" General Bai asked. "Human morale has never been higher," she replied. "Knowing that Ghost is coordinating operations gives our soldiers confidence to attempt missions they would never have tried before." Dr. Lee entered the command center carrying the latest analysis of Ghost's neural patterns. Her tactical processing capability continues to evolve. She's now predicting enemy movements up to 72 hours in advance. "How is that possible?" General Bai asked. "She's learned to think like an entire alien command structure," Dr. Lee explained. "Her enhanced mind can simulate their decision-making process with perfect accuracy. To her, their tactics are as predictable as mathematics." In the depths of space, the alien fleet Eternal Darkness received new orders from High Command. They were to avoid all engagements in sectors where human activity had been detected. The risk of encountering Ghost was deemed too high to justify any tactical objective. Fleet Commander Korthus stared at the orders with disgust. "We're running from one human soldier." "One human who thinks like a god of war," his tactical officer replied. "The reports from other commanders are clear. She knows what we will do before we decide to do it." Across the galaxy, alien military units began implementing new protocols. No major operation could proceed without approval from 3 separate command levels. All tactical plans had to be reviewed for possible Ghost countermeasures. Communication security was increased to prevent human intelligence gathering. But these changes only made their forces slower and less effective. The fear of Ghost was paralyzing alien military decision-making at every level. In her quarters aboard the Vengeance Ghost, reviewed intelligence reports from across human space. The psychological impact of her operations was spreading like ripples through the alien command structure. Their tactical efficiency was dropping measurably as commanders second-guessed every decision. "They're defeating themselves," she said to Captain Park, who had come to discuss the next mission. "What do you mean?" he asked. "Fear is making them predictable," Ghost explained. "The more afraid they become, the more they follow standard procedures. Standard procedures are easy to counter when you understand their tactical thinking." She activated a star chart showing alien fleet positions across 3 sectors. "Look at these formations. Every ship placement follows their emergency defensive doctrine exactly. They've become so afraid of making mistakes that they've stopped thinking creatively." Captain Park studied the display. "So their fear of you is making them easier to defeat." "Exactly," Ghost replied with a cold smile. "They created me to understand their tactics. Now those same tactics have become their greatest weakness." The legend of Ghost continued to grow with each passing day. The human who had learned to think like the enemy while remaining utterly unpredictable. The soldier who made alien commanders afraid of their own shadows. The massive alien invasion fleet assembled in the dark space beyond the New Buzan system. 200 warships arranged in perfect attack formation under the direct command of Supreme Commander Kethrak. This was to be the decisive battle that would end the war and capture the human known as Ghost. All fleet commanders report ready for final assault, announced Veltar from the bridge of the command ship. Planetary defenses appear minimal. Intelligence suggests only token resistance. Ketharak studied the tactical display showing the human colony world below. New Buzan held 3 million civilians and represented a major industrial center for human military production. More importantly, it was the perfect bait to draw Ghost into a direct confrontation. "She will come," he said with certainty. "The human cannot resist defending innocent civilians. It's a weakness built into their species psychology." On the surface of New Buzan, emergency sirens wailed across the major cities as civilians evacuated to underground shelters. The Planetary Defense Force consisted of only 12 ships and a handful of orbital weapons platforms. Against 200 alien warships, they had no chance of victory through conventional tactics. Ghost stood in the command center of Defense Station 1, watching the approaching alien fleet through the tactical display. Her enhanced mind processed the enemy formation with perfect clarity. Every ship position, every weapon system, every tactical possibility. "They're not here to conquer the planet," she told Admiral Kim, who commanded the defense forces. "This entire invasion is designed to force me into a battle where Ketharak can study my abilities." "Can we evacuate more civilians?" Admiral Kim asked. "No time," Ghost replied. "The alien formation is designed to prevent evacuation ships from leaving the system. They want to use civilian lives as leverage against me." Captain Topark arrived at the command center with the rest of Ghost's original team. Sergeant Min Lee carried enough explosives to level a small city. Private Jadwan had established communication links with every defense platform in the system. Corporal So Rayun was prepared for massive casualty treatment. "What are your orders, Ghost?" Captain Park asked. Ghost closed her eyes and let her enhanced tactical awareness expand across the entire star system. She could see the alien battle plan as clearly as if she had written it herself. Ketharak intended to demonstrate that even Ghost could not defend against overwhelming force. "We're going to show them what happens when you threaten human civilians," she said, opening her eyes. Jet 1 established priority communication with all planetary defense units. Min Lee prepared charges on the orbital mining platforms. So Rayun coordinate with medical teams across all population centers. "Ghost, we only have 12 ships," Admiral Kim protested. "How can we possibly stop 200 alien warships?" "We don't stop them, Admiral," Ghost replied with a cold smile. "We make them stop themselves." The alien fleet began its final approach to New Buzan. Ketharak expected the human defenders to form a desperate defensive line that his superior numbers could crush easily. Instead, he found something impossible. The human ships weren't defending the planet. They were attacking his formation. "Impossible," Veltar announced. 12 human ships are engaging our forward elements. They're using suicide attack patterns." Ketharak watched in amazement as the tiny human force struck at his fleet with surgical precision. They weren't trying to destroy his ships. They were forcing specific units to change position and break formation. "They're hurting us," he realized. "Ghost is using our own tactical responses to manipulate our fleet positioning." On New Buzan, Ghost coordinated the impossible defense while standing calmly in the command center. Her enhanced mind tracked every ship movement across the massive battle space. Every human attack was calculated to produce a specific alien response. "Mining Platform 7, detonate charges now," she ordered. Min Lee's explosives turned the orbital platform into a cloud of debris that forced an entire alien squadron to adjust course. The chain reaction continued as each forced movement created new vulnerabilities in the enemy formation. "Admiral, execute Pattern Delta," Ghost commanded. The human defense ships struck again, forcing more alien units to break from their assigned positions. What had started as a perfect invasion formation was becoming a confused mass of ships trying to avoid collision with each other. "She's turning our numbers against us," Ketharak said, watching his tactical display in horror. "The more ships we have, the more opportunities she creates for confusion." Private Jai-1 monitored alien communications with growing excitement. "Ghost, they're starting to panic. Multiple collision warnings. Several ships requesting permission to withdraw." Not yet, Ghost replied. Her mind was processing tactical possibilities 3 moves ahead of the current battle state. Wait for them to commit their reserve forces. Ketharak watched his perfectly planned invasion dissolving into chaos. Ghost wasn't just defending the planet. She was conducting a symphony of tactical manipulation that turned his greatest strength into weakness. Commit all reserves, he ordered desperately. Overwhelm their positions with pure numbers. Sir, that will create massive formation overlap, Veltar warned. Do it, Ketharak commanded. Ghost smiled as she watched 50 additional alien ships move into the already crowded battle space. Now, Admiral, execute final pattern. The remaining human ships struck at precisely calculated points in the alien formation. Ships that had been forced out of position crashed into reserve units moving forward. Weapon systems designed for space combat began firing on other alien vessels to avoid collision. In less than 20 minutes, the most powerful invasion fleet in alien history had destroyed itself through friendly fire and navigation chaos. Ghost had turned their tactical doctrine against them so completely that they defeated themselves. Impossible, Ketharak whispered as his own flagship collided with 2 other command vessels. Across the new Buzan system, alien ships retreated in complete disorder. The invasion was over before it had truly begun. Ghost had achieved the impossible victory not through superior firepower, but through perfect understanding of enemy psychology. Standing in Defense Station 1, she watched the alien fleet withdraw in confusion and chaos. The legend of Ghost had just grown beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. The alien High Council chamber fell silent as the final reports from New Buzan were read aloud. 200 of their finest warships had been destroyed or disabled by a human defense force of 12 vessels. The impossible had become reality, and the implications terrified every species in the Alliance. The human-designated Ghost has achieved something that our strategic computers classify as mathematically impossible, announced Council Leader Zarthok. She has transcended the limitations of tactical warfare as we understand it. What are your recommendations? Demanded General Vectar, though his voice carried none of its usual authority. Immediate withdrawal from all human territories, replied Intelligence Chief Morton. Any military operation where Ghost might be present is doomed to failure. She has become more than a soldier. She is a force of nature that we cannot counter. Across the galaxy, alien fleet commanders received the same emergency directive. New protocols were implemented immediately. Any detection of human military activity in a sector required immediate tactical withdrawal. No engagement with human forces was authorized without approval from the High Council itself. The war had effectively ended not through massive battles or strategic conquest, but through the fear of one human soldier. On Terra Station, General Ba stood before a gathering of military leaders from across human space. The holographic displays showed alien fleet positions retreating from every front line. For the first time in 5 years, human territory was completely free of enemy presence. Ladies and gentlemen, the war is over, he announced. Alien forces have implemented galaxy-wide withdrawal protocols. Their military doctrine now classifies engagement with human forces as tactically inadvisable. Commander Rina Choi activated additional displays showing communication intercepts from alien command networks. They're not just withdrawing from active combat zones. They're evacuating entire star systems that border human space. What about their long-term strategic planning? Asked Admiral Chen. According to our analysis, they've abandoned all offensive operations against human targets, Commander Choi replied. The psychological impact of Ghost's capabilities has fundamentally changed their approach to this conflict. In her quarters aboard the defense station orbiting New Buzan, Ghost reviewed the intelligence reports with her original team gathered around her. Captain Topark studied the alien withdrawal patterns with amazement. They're actually afraid to fight us now, he said. An entire galactic alliance is avoiding conflict with humanity because of what you've become. Sergeant Min Lee looked at the tactical displays showing empty space where alien fleets used to patrol. How does it feel to know that your legend has ended a war? Ghost considered the question carefully. Her enhanced mind could process the full scope of what had happened. The alien neural weapon had tried to destroy her humanity, but instead had created something that transcended the limitations of both species. "I don't feel like a legend," she replied honestly. "I feel like someone who learned to see patterns that others miss. The aliens made me into something they couldn't understand, and now that same incomprehension protects every human in the galaxy." Private J1 monitored communication channels from across human space. The civilian populations are celebrating. They're calling it the Ghost War, the conflict that ended when one soldier became too dangerous for an entire alliance to face. Corporal So Ray-Yun reviewed the casualty reports from New Busan. Less than 100 human casualties in the entire battle. You saved 3 million lives without firing a single shot at the planet's surface. Dr. Lee arrived with the final analysis of Ghost's neural patterns. Your tactical processing capability has stabilized at levels we still don't fully understand. You can predict enemy movements across galactic distances and timescales that span months. "What does that mean for the future?" Captain Park asked. "It means I've become something that makes war impossible for our enemies," Ghost replied. "They can't fight what they can't predict or understand. Their tactical thinking has become obsolete in the face of human adaptability." General Ba contacted the team through secure communication. "Ghost, you're needed at Terra Station. The Alien High Council has requested formal peace negotiations. They want to discuss terms for permanent cessation of hostilities." "Do they want to meet with me directly?" Ghost asked. "No," General Bay replied. "They're too afraid to be in the same star system as you. The negotiations will be conducted through automated communication systems to ensure you're not present." Ghost smiled at the irony. The aliens who had tried to study and capture her were now so terrified of her abilities that they couldn't even risk direct diplomatic contact. Standing at the observation window of the defense station, she looked out at the stars where alien fleets had once threatened human worlds. Now those same fleets maintained respectful distances from human space measured in light years rather than tactical kilometers. Her transformation was complete. Lieutenant Hannah Kim had become Ghost not just in name but in effect. A phantom who haunted the strategic planning of entire civilizations. A legend that made peace possible through the simple fact of her existence. Captain Park joined her at the window. "What happens now?" "Now we make sure they remember why they're afraid," Ghost replied. "The legend of Ghost must remain strong enough to keep the peace. As long as they believe I'm watching their every move, they'll never risk another war with humanity." Across alien space military commanders spoke her name in whispers when they thought no one was listening. The human who could think like gods of war while fighting like a demon from their darkest myths. Ghost had become more than a soldier or a legend. She had become the guardian of human peace through the simple power of fear itself. The war was over, and the galaxy would never be the same.